Career Cool, the educational gurukul, a startup by German and American university alumni. Coaching classes from 9 to 12th and career counseling services.
Hi guys and welcome to Career Cool. आज हम बात करने वाले हैं निशांत शर्मा से, who was the former coordinator of corporate relations and placement committee at Four Business School, one of the most reputed business schools in India. जब भी हम एक बी स्कूल के बारे में सोचते हैं कि क्या एक एस्पिरेंट एक बी स्कूल क्यों जाना चाहता है, देयर आर कपल ऑफ रीजंस दैट वी कैन थिंक अबाउट आर उसको अच्छी जॉब चाहिए, उसको मैनेजमेंट रोल चाहिए, उसको ज्यादा पैसे चाहिए, या उसको अपनी इंडस्ट्री चेंज करना चाहता है या करना चाहती है. And behind all of this, there's one big thing that stands to support them. That is the placement committee of that B school. And this placement committee is made up of students of that B school itself. पर क्या होता है प्लेसमेंट कमेटी के अंदर? कॉर्पोरेट रिलेशंस और प्लेसमेंट कमेटी ये इतना बड़ा और हैवी वर्ड है, ये पूरा मिला के, तो उसमें होता क्या है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे? दैट इज व्हाई वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक टू निशान टुडे एंड वी आर गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड ये पूरा कमेटी जो है वो करता क्या है, कैसे एक कॉर्पोरेट को ऑन कैंपस लाता है, क्या प्लेसमेंट ऑफर्स होते हैं, कैसे वो लोग ग्रूम करते हैं स्टूडेंट्स को. सो प्लीज 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 continue watching Career Cool as you have been loving and supporting us, and we are super excited to bring Nishant on this platform to share his journey as the placement coordinator for corporate relations and placement committee at Four Business School. He has completed his BTech and he completed his internship from Asian Paints, and with COVID he is currently waiting to start his new journey in a new office soon. So let's get into talking to Nishant, but before that, don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to Career Cool. Career Cool provides career counseling, mentorship for all B school aspirants. We also provide psychometric analysis and in helping you decide which is the best stream for you, which is the best career for you, what is your kind of personality and aap kis area mein successful honge. And we also provide and help in getting study abroad opportunities as well as filling out your applications and provide you home to hostel service. So don't forget to subscribe to Career Cool and let's start talking to Nishan. Corporate relations and placement committee. So this is like the backbone of any B school.
Right.
So hota kya hai?
Right. So, as the name suggests, Corporate Relations and Placement Committee has two major functions. One is to maintain the corporate relations with the not just the recruiters, but with corporates in general that are around the college or maybe in the country as a whole.
Okay.
And the second part is obviously the placements. But how we define it is there are four major job profiles, if you can divide it into, that the Corporate Relations and Placement Committee has. The first one is to groom the batch. Now, when somebody joins an MBA institute, a B school, that person has joined here either with or without corporate exposure. So basically to level the playground and to make sure that everybody is having enough corporate exposure to get going post their MBA is done. The first part is to groom them, wherein we organize a lot of guest lectures, leadership talks. We try to approach the industry leaders and get to know if they have some live projects with them. For example, let's say there's a recruiter or there's a non-recruiter, but this particular person in his own team has a problem which needs to be looked at from an outsider's perspective. In that case, that person requires inputs from B school students. So that is a live project, which is kind of a part-time internship. So somebody could be interning in a company, but not full-time because they're studying as well. So that becomes a live project.
Okay.
So that is done apart from summer internships, which is taken care by the Corporate Relations Placement Committee, and final placements. So that's the basic of what we do.
That's pretty interesting. One question from there, as we are discussing. तो तुमने बोले ये बहुत एक interesting concept बोला तुमने recruiter versus non-recruiter and live projects non-recruiters भी लाते हैं. So is it like a paid thing with live projects, or can it be also unpaid?
It can be both. So depending on how much labor intensive it is, depending on the paying capacity of the organization for that particular project, whether they want to invest in the in paying the student or not. It can be paid or unpaid. Usually, if it requires, let's say, on weekends, a site visit, an office visit, or something like that, it is usually paid. But something that you can do from home, let's say it's a research based project only, that can be unpaid as well.
Okay, got it. That's pretty interesting because I didn't know that these kind of live projects existed. So, talking with your experience from Ford Business School, so what is the average placement at Ford? And in the past 3 years, would you have like a percentage as to how many people got placed?
Right. So basically, when you consider the batch strength of Ford School of Management, we've had the batch increased over the last year. We had initially, let's say, for the last 3 years, when you're asking me, the 3 years back, we used to have a batch strength of 300 students.
Okay.
So this was divided across the PGDM General Management and PGDM International Business. When it comes to placement, there is no divide as such. So everybody sits for the placements in the same way. I mean, they're enrolled as a normal student and not according to batches. In the past 3 years, we've had 100% placement. When it is 100%, that means 100% of the people who actually applied for placements, who were eligible, and second, who applied. Eligible in the sense that there's obviously a criteria that is set by the institute, which usually is met by everybody, which is a 6 GPA minimum out on a scale of 10. And second is people may also opt out because they are interested in their entrepreneurial ventures. So not everybody sits for placements in a B school, in Ford. So last year we had an average of 10.6 lakhs per annum, which was the average placements. Then last year we had, by last year I mean the batch of 2018 passing out.
Okay, yeah.
So 2018 passing out had a 10.4 average. And the last year batch, the 2019 passing out batch, had a 10.8 lakh average. And the batch that is currently passed out, the graduated batch, that is 2020 batch, that has an average of 10.6 lakhs per annum.
Okay.
So more or less it's the same. We expected it to grow this year, but then, as you know, the entire economic slowdown has hit every B school. So it has fallen a bit last year.
That makes sense. एक बहुत interesting बात तुमने बोली कि even when we are looking at the placement number, तो ये eligibility factor एक मायने रख जाता है कि मतलब ये नहीं है कि B स्कूल में पहुंच गए तो बस अब तो placement हो ही जाएगा, पढ़ना भी पड़ता है.
Correct. And something that struck me when I came into a B school, there are a lot of students who, in the first initial few months, have this mindset that in a B school you've come to get placed and maybe to quickly rise in the corporate ladder, which is a myth that is broken very quickly. So for some students, for example, for me, the entire field is changing. Like I was from an engineering background, and now I'm getting into the management line. So it's more important to understand and to excel at the field you're choosing now, right? So it's not just the placements that people are looking for at the end of the day.
Pura industry exposure, and that's where your live projects and all the things that the placement committee is doing, the 4 levels that we discussed, wo sab kuch that comes into the play.
Right.
That makes sense.
So the hands-on experience and from the experiences of the industry leaders that you get from guest lectures and these workshops that are conducted. So that is also very important.
Yeah, that's pretty important. So we did talk about the 4 levels ki actually kya karta hai the corporate relations and placement committee. So you being one of the members, what was your experience? And I know it's kind of thoda vague, but you being one of the integral part of it, तो तुम्हारा क्या experience था उसमें?
Right. So initially, when I had to, so initially you are allowed to choose any committee that you want to sit for. I mean, you can apply to these committees. Then there are selection rounds that are conducted.
Okay.
So initially, I was told by my seniors, by my, the people who had already completed their MBA, that if you really want to, if you're really interested in developing your personality as such, then you could try and get into the placement committee, because you will experience things hands-on from the, uh, you will be directly interacting with the corporates, and it'll be an enriching experience for you. So I was really interested, but I didn't know exactly what goes on inside, right? So my experience has been pretty, I would say, eye-opening in a way, because uh, as an engineering graduate, when I had joined my company for the training part, uh, that's when the MBA results came out, and then I ended up starting my MBA straight away. But then initially, my experience in that, uh, let's say, structure in the corporate was completely different than what I have experienced here. So trying to understand exactly how, decisions are taken, and what are the impact of each decision that you're taking, because so when you're in the placement committee, your each decision is in some way going to impact the batch, the placements of the batch, and it is pretty crucial that each decision of yours goes in the right direction, because if anything goes wrong, it goes on to impact the placements of each student. And there have been instances where I personally was one call away from, let's say, spoiling or making or breaking the career of, let's say, three people. For example, a corporate is demanding something, and you're at a position wherein you might find it unethical, but then even if you say yes to that, that might make or break somebody's career, right? But then that's what we understand, that these are the exact stakes that later on in life you will experience in a corporate too. So obviously, what I learned most importantly was to stay ethical in whatever we're doing, right? And then I guess that is pretty important. And I got to know a lot of instances wherein staying unethical could have proved to be really, really dangerous later on. So my experience as such has been pretty enlightening, and I have gotten to know a lot of things, and a lot of, let's say, my entire corporate exposure that I have got because of the placement committee has also been pretty uh, enlightening.
That's amazing. And I seriously, I am kind of on the naive side. Like, I'm not sure what goes on in the placement committee, kya hota hai. But I have always known that it's one of the most sought after committees in every B school in India. So
Right.
that was pretty revealing. So, when how do you select that which companies come to the campus?
Right. So we have sectors divided. I mean, according to the industries, we have industry wise division of the people divided. And then there is a set CTC that we target basis the institute's own history and the past. So basis that we try to target as many corporates as we can. So
Okay.
there is no particular set of companies that we only target. So let's say if it's FMCG, then we'll target, let's say, X number of companies. But then out of those X number of companies, some companies might not be hiring that year. Some companies might be legacy recruiters, which come every year. Some companies might be who have fresh requirements, ad hoc requirements for this year, only internship requirements for the particular year. So we try to target as many companies as we can. So, industry wise, we have primarily the IT industry, which is thriving at this point of time in India. The other ones are FMCG, FMCD industry, which are pretty sought after in B schools right now, and market research and consulting companies, which again are really, really sought after. And we have so manufacturing, logistics, and then real estate, retail industries. So here too, we try to approach as many companies as we can, but here the requirements become more year on year basis. So there might be some companies which come to hire this year, which might not come again because they have very limited set of requirements.
Okay.
And then there is BFSI, and then there is obviously retail.
So, usually, how many companies come for placements approximately?
So it can be divided into both summer internship and final placement separately. So for final placements, we have at least 120 odd companies each year. It might vary each year depending on whether, let's say, a company had higher number of requirements in a particular year, and so so I'll give you an instance. Last year, it was 114 companies, but last year there were 135 companies
Okay.
because that was not owing to the batch size because it remained unchanged for the last 2 years. It was because of the factor that some of the companies had bulk requirements last year. And when I say bulk, it means about 6 to 7 requirements. So it depends. Each year it's around 120 though. For summer internship, we had an addition of another batch. So last year we had around 130 odd companies coming in for summer internships.
That's amazing. That's a huge number and like a good chunk of selection for the B school graduates itself.
Right.
क्या select करना है उस वक्त. So you mentioned in the starting the 4 pillars that you were saying about the placement committee. So does the placement committee also helps in like resume building, in editing, in personality
Right.
development for all the batch?
Right. So, like I said, there are 4 major divisions that of the job profile that you can make. The first one was grooming the batch. Under grooming the batch, you can have what we do is we standardize all the CVs of the students. So when let's say a fresher comes in or somebody with 4 5 years of experience comes in, their CVs need to reflect the same. It should be similar in design and layout and all. So we have a standardized CV format that we give to the students and which is followed. So yes, CV is there. Under grooming, there are separate committees for that conduct mock GDs, mock PIs. That is not directly handled by the placement committee, but then we do have sessions conducted by the industry leaders that could give an insight into the placements and how their experience during their time was when they were sitting for placements. So that is conducted throughout the year
Okay, that's
and
very
more so before the placement season.
Yeah, that's very important. I was recently looking at one of the B schools CVs, and I was seeing that everyone had exactly the same like number of
Right.
bullet points. The experience was different, definitely, but exactly the same number of bullet points. And I was like, okay,
Right.
this now looks impartial, like a non-biased
Yeah.
decision for a recruiter. So we talked about the kinds of companies, we talked about job profile, we talked about the placement committee, and so we also talked about how many students sit in the placement. So, when we are talking about the internship, is it compulsory for everyone to do internships?
Yes. So in India, the governing body for these, the AICT is the governing body for the B schools. So
Mhm.
according to the AICT norms, everybody in the first year has to complete an SIP, and so a summer internship program has a particular number of credits that you have to complete in order for you to get the degree at the end of the 2 years.
Okay.
So summer internship is a mandate.
And is there like a limit? Like it has to be 4 weeks, it has to be 8 weeks?
Right. So it has to be an 8 to 10 week internship.
Okay.
That usually stretches along around April to May for 2 months. So it could be a little more, but then the minimum is 8 weeks. So for a longer internship, people usually take approvals from the college, and usually for 8 to 10 weeks only.
And what's usually the average package that people get for internships?
For stipend, it's around 50,000 for 2 months,
Okay.
and there have been instances where some really good brands offer a nil stipend internship.
Hmm.
That is totally depending on their understanding of whether the student will be working from home, whether it's a research based internship or whether they'll have to call them to their let's say site. So at times the reimbursements are provided, but then it could be a nil stipend as well. So for the last 2 years, however, we've not had a nil stipend internship, but then there are always internships that we float that could be nil stipend because there could be really good brands and really good projects that they offer. But it's a research based project, so students choose not to opt for a nil stipend internship usually.
Can people do 2 internships at once?
They cannot do 2 internships from college. They can take an NOC in case they want to opt for an internship from outside. So they can take an NOC from the office, and they can do as many internships as they want to, as long as they complete one. For sure.
And would you know, like, the average conversion of, like, the one thing I keep on hearing is the PPO, the
Correct.
pre-placement offer, जो बहुत
Correct.
सारे बी स्कूल वाले बच्चों को होता है, यार टेंशन खत्म हो गई, इंटर्नशिप किया, वहीं से ऑफर मिल गया और खत्म. तो
Right.
यूजुअली कितना परसेंटेज ऐसे PPO मिल जाता है?
So it varies every year, but then usually it's around 15 to 20%. That means it will be around 50 to 60 students of a
Okay.
batch.
And usually B school students prefer that या नहीं? Because I have
So
heard both sides.
yeah, yeah. So why it's for 15 to 20% is because accepting a PPO or not is totally in the hands of a student.
Mm-hmm.
So at least in Four School of Management, a student can choose not to go for a PPO, no matter what the CTC component is. They can choose not to opt for a PPO. So that's why even when PPOs are offered, students at times tend not to accept them because let's say they do not really see themselves fitting in that company, in that role, or they really wanted better clarity whether they are fit for, let's say, um, they were confused between sales or digital marketing, and they ended up doing a digital marketing internship, but they understood they're not fit for a desk job maybe.
Okay.
So now they're sure about things that they will be wanting a sales role later on. So people don't accept a PPO in that case.
Very interesting. I did not know that. So this is one question that a student sent to me to ask you. So do coordinators get dibs on the companies that they are bringing to the campus? And do you build professional relations at a personal level also when you're bringing a company?
Right. So there are specific set of rules that we are basically told to follow, and we have to follow. The first one being that we cannot have any biasness. There is absolutely no preferential status given to anybody when it comes to the companies that are there that are recruiting from college. So let's say when I was sitting for placements, for that particular day, I will not be treated as a placement committee member at all. So I cannot interact with the person who has come to recruit, with the team who has come to recruit. I will be sitting in the process. I am not allowed to roam around the placement office. So during that day, I have to be treated as a student who is in the process and not as a placement committee member. So we try to avoid all sorts of this particular thing that we might have preferential status given. So yes, that's not done. And second is on the company that we can choose. No, we cannot. So we have to sit just like the other batch. We have to try to understand which will be the companies that we'll be visiting, and to maintain this uh, transparency and to level the playground. What we do is, like I said, we have different industries that we're targeting, right?
Mhm.
So let's say, so for me, I was, let's say, handling a sector for IT. So I will not be knowing exactly what are the companies coming from FMCG sector. So I only know about my sector. So within the team also, we maintain this that no person is allowed to uh, contact anybody from the other sectors, so that this particular preferential status goes away. And what was your next question? The other question was?
Yeah. So do you kind of, in while contacting different companies, do you also kind of build personal relations? Because if you
Yeah,
have IT sector and you're meeting now those,
correct.
let's say, hot shots of that industry.
Right, right. So that comes automatically. I mean, that is one of the plus points of being in the placement committee. That obviously you do build connections in the industry, and yes, they do become at a professional level. They become really good connections of yours. And obviously, when you're contacting them for like 2 years, and you're visiting them, and you're trying to maintain the corporate relations, that all obviously develops into a personal relation as well.
That's interesting. So how many people are there in the placement committee from the student side?
So it varies year on year. It varies from 13 to 14 students per year.
Okay.
So depending on the batch strength, so usually it's like per batch, there are a particular number of students that are there. So by batch, I mean, so there is a financial management batch, there is an international business batch. So from each batch, there has to be some representation. So that is considered, but that is not the only factor that decides the number of students. But it's around 13 to 14 per year.
And you would have a teacher who's a coordinator for that?
So we don't have a coordinator, but we do have a dean that we ultimately report to, who um, basically we have to report to, and who supervises the permissions part that we might need at times. Let's say there are some approvals that we need from the administration. So for that, we need our dean's approval first. So there's a dean corporate relations that is there, and under him there are certain managers that become our task heads. So they closely monitor our performance and set targets at the starting of the year.
Okay. So all the students, these 13, 14 students, they are first year, second year, or a mix?
Yeah, from each year there are 13 to 14 students. So I know for a fact there are some colleges that follow this religiously, that first year students handle the placements for final placements, as in the final batch, the graduating batch. And this graduating batch placement committee members, they handle the placements for the summer internships, so that there is no bias. But in four, we have teams divided not in terms of the year, but in terms of sectors, like I said. So we have a senior and a junior pair per sector. So both look after both summer internships and final placements. Usually, what happens is a final placement committee member would, the graduating batch placement committee member would ideally look after the final placements more, because ultimately that is more crucial to the college, right? Because summer internships, there are certain set of recruiters that are fixed for each year, and summer internships, they're considered easier to crack as such within the placement committee, because an organization is not really investing as much money as they are when they're hiring a full-time employee.
So how easy or difficult is it to actually become a part of the placement committee?
So it's ideally the selection rounds test your mental strength. They kind of try to put you under immense pressure that you probably would be encountering when there are, let's say, 7 to 8 companies on campus, and you're running from one place to other place because there is utter chaos. So they try to put you under a lot of pressure. There is a lot of grilling that happens during the entire placement process, the entire selection process for the placement committee. It so in some circles, I know for a fact that it is considered that the selection rounds for placement committee are equated to the roadies K rounds. So they are obviously tough, and they're fun too. I mean, it's an experience that people live with. And some people give the placement committee rounds only because they consider कि एक बार placement committee के round देने हैं, देखना है कि हवा क्या है. So that.
तो मीनिंग कोई ऐसी मेमोरेबल वो है कि तुम लोग को क्या टास्क दिया गया था जब तुम लोग को
So
place?
I can mention one. So these selection rounds were spread across 4 to 5 days.
Okay.
So, and they started from, let's say, at 7 a.m. In the college, and they went on till around 11 p.m. And then the next day, the same thing continued. We were free at around 9 p.m. And then we were told that you might get a mail, all right, during the night. So we had to stay up after these entire grueling 2 days. We had to stay up on the second night. And at 3 a.m., we got a task of completing a presentation, and we guys had no clue exactly what are the standards that we should be following for this presentation, because we are freshly into the B school. We don't really know exactly how to make a corporate presentation. So now we had to do it and send it by 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. if not wrong. So within 3 hours we had to send it. So we were up the entire night waiting for the email, and when we actually received it, we had to send it in 2.5, 3 hours, and then we had to report to present this at 7:30 or 8 a.m. in the morning. So that was really, really grueling. And by the end of the 4th day, you're exhausted. And that's when they keep you up all night for a separate selection round altogether.
That's pretty interesting. And समझ में आ रहा है क्यों इतना sought after होता है placement committee. Selection process is difficult.
So, also the selection rounds for all committees, during the selection rounds part, a lot of bonds are forged. that are lasting for the entire 2 years, and that is actually considered to be the one ice-breaking session between the senior batch, junior batch, and between the junior batch themselves, because people get to know each other, and we are forced to make into random teams, and then we have to, let's say, uh, we have a face-off round wherein there will be two separate teams made, and within 10 minutes you have to prepare different presentations on different topics, and then the topics are switched, and then you have to face off each other in an auditorium, and you have to basically debate in a way. So that's, I mean, how you get to know people and learn from each other's experience during those really really testing hours.
So for people who are watching, I can see कि निशान कितना passionate है अपनी memories share करने के लिए. But don't get disheartened, because these are the things that actually make your B school journey super exciting and amazing. And
Right.
these are
So
साल
like
बाद
I said,
कैसी चीजें याद
even
करो.
after 2 years, I mean, we guys recollect them as our most memorable memories and moments that we had in the B school. So these are really really nice memories that we have of the B school.
And सोचो इतना grueling memories है कि 4 रात सोए नहीं, पर तब भी वो सबसे अच्छी memories हैं.
Right.
That's interesting. Okay, so how important is profile building? So we talk a lot कि इंडिया में profile building, आपको अगर B school में जाना है, आपको ऐसी profile होनी चाहिए, वैसी profile होनी चाहिए. There are so many B schools who take admission through profile basis only. So how
Correct.
important is profile building according to you in B schools?
So you have to give them a reason why exactly are you. If you're not changing a line, then obviously your profile has to be strong anyway. But if you're changing your entire line, the speciality that you're basically doing, then you have to give them a good enough reason why you've chosen to do this. So that's why a profile building is really important, as to give them an idea that your change that you're basically seeking is not just happening overnight, that you just thought one day that now it's time for me to grow up the corporate ladder and I am doing an MBA. It's not like that. So you have to basically build your profile in a way that it is evident that you want to do an MBA, in the sense that you completed engineering, and during engineering you were in certain societies, certain clubs, wherein you wanted to get into the personnel management, or the human resources part of it, or you were interested in marketing or finance or some club that you were in. And then later on as well, you did some certifications, especially for people that are trying or that are hoping to do finance in future. You need to do a lot of certifications. You need to build your profile that way, so that a recruiter would be attracted towards you later on. So that's obviously very important.
तो जो सब कुछ किया है लाइफ में, सब कुछ डाल दें रेज्यूमे पे या सिलेक्टिव हों?
You have to be very selective. You have to choose exactly what would look good and would actually matter to somebody who's reading your resume. Let's say that, and obviously try to put it in the recent most to later kind of a format. That means whatever you've done towards the very end of your career, put that first. The latest achievement comes first, and then the older one, something that you did in school, that comes on later. So yeah, what you're putting in the resume is very important, and don't just put everything that you've done. Be selective, and Jojo cheeze are very important from the perspective of what you're applying for. For example, if you're sticking to this ideology that I want to do marketing, and your entire B school admissions interview also went towards this कि मुझे marketing करनी है, and that's why I applied for. I'm going for an MBA. So let's say something that is irrelevant to marketing. Let's say you some time down the line in school you had won a particular competition which is not relevant to your achievements right now, which might help you in the marketing field. Try to avoid that and put something that is more relevant to the line that you're seeking here.
So एक क्वेश्चन बहुत बार आता है और ये हर बी स्कूल टू बी स्कूल डिफर करता है. लाइक I have seen a couple of resumes, they prefer one pager. So what does four business school prefer? Do it prefer one pager or two pagers?
So once you get into the B school, it's only a one pager resume that is permitted at four also. That is done to, like you said, what you really want to put in the resume. We force people to think what exactly deserves highest priority and put that in the resume. So that, I mean, the redundant achievements get omitted. And something that is of no use to the recruiter. Why do you want to put that on the CV? So that's why it's a one pager that we prefer.
That's nice. So, one quick question and one last question. And this is kind of like my favorite question that I love to ask.
Yeah.
What would be something that each student in B school or an aspirant should remember from day one of entering a B school?
All right. Do not stop learning. That is something that obviously has become a cliched dialogue also, but this is very important. So in B school, people are after, they get very competitive, but avoid that. What I personally learned, I was a very competitive person, and I have been a pretty competitive person till I entered, let's say, into the B school. And after 3 months, I realized this, that people are coming from different backgrounds. They have amazing life experiences to share with you. So instead of being really, really competitive, be always hungry to grow, because people will share their life experiences, and people actually come from very, very diverse backgrounds in a B school. And so, because when you're in a undergraduate college, people with similar line come for a undergraduate college, which are coming from 12th, they've just completed their high school and they're entering their undergraduate college. But in a B school, they'll have different work experiences to share with you. Be very open and always be hungry to learn and grow from others' experiences, because honestly speaking, more than what the case studies or what the academics or what the classes have taught me, it's been the experiences of others that has really, really been of use to me. Because people with such diverse backgrounds come to do an MBA, that you learn a lot from their life experiences. And like I was mentioning you about the ethical part initially in this interaction that we're having, I learned from others' experiences a lot, how it has backfired a lot for people when they tried not to, they tried to go down a line which is not exactly ethical. So yes, be very hungry to learn from others' experiences and be very open. Instead of being competitive, learn from others' experiences, and take part in as many corporate events, corporate engagement activities as you can, whether it's leadership talks or guest lectures or live projects, because leaders have really, really interesting experiences to share, and they share really, really good insights into exactly what goes on in the industry during these talks. So yes, keep an open mind.
That's very important. Thank you so much, Nishant. You gave us a really good sneak peek into corporate relations and placement committee in India in for B schools, and which even for me, like having friends who studied from Indian B schools, even they kind of could not give me all the information that you just gave us. So thank you so much for being on CareerKul, and thank you so much for enlightening all the audience who are right now actually preparing for CAT, क्योंकि CAT का भी registration form शुरू हो चुका है, और
Right.
कोविड के टाइम में दिस काइंड ऑफ हेल्प्स, क्योंकि सब लोग अब यही सोच रहे हैं कि बी स्कूल जाना है, नहीं जाना है, क्या करना है, नेक्स्ट स्टेप्स क्या लेने हैं. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी एनलाइटनिंग फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स.
Thank you so much, Kriti, for having me here.